afternoon. Good afternoon. One more time, good afternoon. My name is Walter Douglas, and I'm the Executive Director for Administration at New Jersey Medical School. I'd like to thank you for coming today. I'd like to introduce our Masters and Mistresses of Ceremony. First will be Dr. Patricia Fitzgerald-Carsley, President of the NJMS Faculty Organization, and the President of our Student Council, Student Dr. Neil Kashal. Give them a warm round of applause.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the faculty of the New Jersey Medical School, I welcome you to this new beginning ceremony, which celebrates the beginning of the deanship of Robert L. Johnson as the 8th Dean of the UMDNJ New Jersey Medical School. I am Dr. Patricia Fitzgerald-Carsley, and I serve this year as President of the Faculty Organization at New Jersey Medical School.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Neil Kaushal. I'm a third year, almost done, rising fourth year. Thanks. Rising fourth year student here at New Jersey Medical School. I wish to extend my absolute sincerest greetings on behalf of the students of the New Jersey Medical School and welcome you to this afternoon's reception and celebration marking the beginning of the 8th Deanship of the New Jersey Medical School. At this point, before we begin, I also want to put a plug in for the New Jersey Medical School official tie. Our Vice President, Ray Malaparo, is up at the top, sporting a absolutely great tie. They'll be on sale for $40 outside. Feel free to approach either of us. Thanks.
All right, before we begin, and I know we have a number of guests in the audience, I just wanted to make sure that everyone is aware of the exits. So there are exits on both sides of the auditorium as well as in both sides at the back. If at any time during the program you need assistance, simply raise your hand and one of the individuals wearing a name tag saying Event Committee will come to help you. These persons will also be able to assist you at any time during the program and also during the reception.
At this point, we are very pleased to welcome the chair of the UMDNJ Board of Trustees and an alumnus of New Jersey Medical School, class of 1987, Dr. Kevin M. Barry.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I've sat many times in the lecture hall that you're sitting, not here. I used to sit up there and try to remain anonymous, although I now realize that's where they looked and called and yelled. So I want to begin by dispelling a myth that has been propagated by Bob Johnson and George Heinrich, and that is that 1972 was the best class at New Jersey Medical School. I have seen at least one or two other 1987 graduates, and as a proud alumnus of this school, I respectfully disagree with their opinion, and I am now proclaiming that the best of the best title is for the class of 1987, the year that I graduated. I first would like to thank the Muscarellis. Thank you for the continued support that you've given to New Jersey Medical School, to UMDNJ, and specifically for your endowment of the chair that we are here for today. I really appreciate it. Your generosity and your commitment to our school has done a lot for us. Thank you very much. I'm here this afternoon not just as a graduate, but also as the head of the university's Board of Trustees. And I have come back here to serve the university where I received my professional training just as Bob Johnson received his, and the school that he now heads. Bob Johnson's career is remarkable. His accomplishments have been far-reaching, both academically, administratively, and in terms of clinical medicine. I could stand here for hours relating what Bob Johnson has done for this university, for the school, the community, the commissions, the committees that he's chaired. But as I said, the most important impact, in my opinion, has been his patience. In my mind, the one effort that epitomizes the commitment, especially to young people, is his role as a co-founder of The Door. The Door is an outreach effort in downtown New York City. This place has welcomed thousands of teenagers and promised a better, healthier future. He has been associated with Adolescent Health Care Center there since 1972. He volunteers there regularly to this day. Dr. Bob, as he is known, has a loyal following, particularly of male patients who see him during his clinic hours from 8 to 4 on Mondays to Thursdays. Today is Monday, so I want to move through this quickly because he's supposed to be there by 4 o'clock. These young men are able to call his cell phone with questions and concerns at any time. His dedication there speaks volumes to this school and the school's commitment and value of humanism and compassion in medicine. I am thrilled that Bob Johnson has been named the 8th Dean of New Jersey Medical School. I wish you great satisfaction in this position, and I am going to take, finally, one last opportunity while I'm here to forgive you for all the mean things you did to me as a pediatric rotating student. Congratulations, Bob, and the very best wishes for a continued success. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Berry, for your hard work for the university and for the kind words. It's now my pleasure to welcome the president of UMDNJ, Dr. William F. Owen, Jr., to the podium. There you go.
Good to see you. Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. Can we start with slide number 57? Bob, heartiest congratulations. We are thrilled and we are honored. I also want to use this as an opportunity to express gratitude to Dr. Mark Klapholz and the terrific search committee that brought us Bob Johnson, comprised of Peter Carmel, Ellentown Anderson, Nick Ponzio, Ann Natalie Pereira, Ann Mosenthal, Carol Newland, Marco Zarbin, and Tom Daly. I think the fact that we have 500 people in attendance today really identifies what a terrific job you folks did. Early in the search process, which brought us, ready for this, 300 candidates for this position, the Board of Trustees and I had a very deliberate conversation about whether or not a long-standing incumbent candidate would be disadvantaged. Rather, we viewed Bob's period as the interim dean as an opportunity to identify and review some of his accomplishments. And I think it's worthwhile to share just a few of these with you. I think it's important to the faculty, staff, students, and certainly to me that the permanent dean of New Jersey Medical School be someone who would catalyze enhancements of the reputation of New Jersey Medical School. And Bob has done that. In fact, I would say a clear mission accomplished. Now, I could regale you of examples of how Bob has functioned as what the Chronicle of Higher Education describes as a core competency of deans of Tier 1 universities, as they describe it, the ambassadorial dean, or the dean with gravitas. For those of you who don't know what I mean by gravitas, as we describe it on South Orange Avenue, the brother got juice. But I think a more powerful example is offered by a little bit of recent history. When I first came here three and a half years ago, at that time a book was released here in New Jersey, and it was entitled The Soprano State. I remind you, Chapter 1 of the Soprano State was UMDNJ, and unfortunately, much of it dealt with New Jersey Medical School. And at that time, when you would read about New Jersey Medical School or UMDNJ, it was prefaced by a descriptor, scandal ridden. Well, obviously, that's no longer the case. And I could certainly regale you with lots of examples of how that is no longer the case. But I think we actually have some powerful examples of the reputational change by accomplishment that has occurred here at New Jersey Medical School. I could tell you about Dr. Peter Carmel, who in a few weeks will ascend to become the president of the American Medical Association, the largest medical organization in the world. How big is it? It has more members than the city of Newark has citizens. I could tell you about David Alon, who invented a transformational test for tuberculosis, which is likely to literally save millions of lives, and the World Health Organization has said is now their gold standard. I could tell you about Stephen Schuster, who proved that chronic fatigue syndrome was not, as it was described a couple of decades ago, a psychosomatic illness of histrionic women. Yeah, you did hear that correctly. But what has that to do with Bob Johnson? Well, just think about those three examples that I offered you and ask yourself the question, why are they at New Jersey Medical School? Why aren't they at Harvard, at Duke, at Yale, at Einstein, at Tufts? You fill in the blank. And I think the answer is offered by what David Alon said a few months ago. And that is, Bob Johnson has created an environment that nurtures and supports people to be extraordinary. As a gray-haired academic CEO, I can tell you that is not the norm in the academy. Second, we thought that during Bob's tenure as interim, it would offer an opportunity to see what he has done in terms of developing the next generation of health providers in New Jersey. And again, I could regale you with tales of the unprecedented levels of student applications here, the standardized test scores, the fact that our students are accepted in the top postgraduate programs in the United States, all to say a school comprised of the best, brightest, and nicest. But I want to give you another perspective that is increasingly important, and that is the issue of what the healthcare population looks like. It is increasingly noted that what is important in health is the community that those citizens come from, not the risk factors of the individual, but the risk factors of the society. The World Health Organization recently said that the medical school classes should look like the population. And Bob has done a tremendous job in diversifying our class, such that we have one of the most diverse classes, not in New Jersey, but in the United States. Just as patients are diverse, our young doctors in training are diverse. So Bob has excelled there, because remember, what has historically been minority health will soon be the health of the emerging majority. And last was the question of, would New Jersey Medical School be sustained under Bob Johnson? I think unless any of you are living under a rock, you are aware of the rhetoric that UMDNJ will be dismantled and New Jersey Medical School will be reassigned to another university. And of all the candidates I saw who expressed to me fear, concern, and almost narcissistic, what the heck is going to happen to me, or I'm going to fix it, Bob was the only one who came forward who talked about opportunities. Opportunities for New Jersey Medical School, opportunities for Newark, for Essex, and for New Jersey. He described himself as being an architect of transformation. As you can imagine, I was impressed, and as you heard from Dr. Barry, the board was impressed. And it's especially remarkable that Bob has been interim dean longer than most deans are in their positions permanently in medical schools. Average tenure for a dean is 3 years, and Bob still wanted the job. So, is Bob really cool, or is Bob really crazy? So in conclusion, Bob, I'd like to give you some advice Bob, are you familiar with the tradition of 3 envelopes in higher education? Bob knows, but I bet several of you do not. In higher education, as you know, we celebrate arcane ceremonies and iconoclastic traditions, and one of those is the tradition of the 3 envelopes. I first learned about it several years ago when I became a chancellor. And my predecessor said, I have left for you in my desk 3 envelopes. Those 3 envelopes are to be opened alone at a quiet time of stress and vexation. So after about a year, I had one of those days. I opened envelope number 1. It said, hang in there. It will get better. I was bolstered. About a year later, I had another one of those days. And so I opened envelope number 2. It said, fight back. You will win. On another occasion, quiet evening, I felt the need to open envelope number 3. It said, prepare 3 envelopes. So Bob, you've been interim so long, there is no preceding desk. Here are your 3 envelopes. Bob, congratulations, and I hope it is a long period between envelope number 1 and envelope number 3. Thank you.
Thank you, President Owen, for your most thoughtful comments and continued support of the Student Council and the UMDNJ Student Senate as well. At this time, I would like to welcome our guest speaker this afternoon, Dr. Clement Price, to the podium. Just a little background on Dr. Price. He's the Rutgers Distinguished Professor of History and Director of the Institute on Ethnicity, Culture, and the Modern Experience right here in Newark. He's the author of Freedom Not Far Distant, a documentary history of Afro-Americans in New Jersey, and numerous other scholarly works. He is both a longtime resident of Newark and a longtime friend of Dean Johnson. Dr. Price, please come to the podium.
Thank you very much. Oh my, look at this crowd. Well, this is an honor. When I was asked to do this some weeks ago, I knew where I would be this day at this hour. The title of my remarks is long and too complicated, but that's what historians do. We complicate the past. So the title is The Making of a Complicated Dream Come True, Dr. Robert Johnson and the Ascent of the New Jersey Medical School. And I just want to acknowledge Bob and his wife and my dear friend, Dr. Owen, and Dr. Barry. It's just an honor to be here. Our illustrious proceeding this afternoon is as much a challenge to those who dare to predict the future as it is to those who believe they know the past. Those who predict the future usually get it wrong because they are working with navigational tools better suited for the present, not the future. And those who believe they know the past are often surprised when the past reveals itself. As I try to turn off my phone. Sorry, Bob, I'm going to hear about this. Likely from Junius Williams. Let me repeat that last sentence. Those who believe they know the past are often surprised because when the past reveals itself, when it finally reveals itself, it's usually contested territory, not easily understood. This day was once a part of a vaguely considered possibility more than a generation ago. Stark visions of a day like this would not have placed many of us in this room, probably not even Dr. Johnson. Those were different times then. I begin this way because the evolution of the University of Medicine and Dentistry and the New Jersey Medical School could hardly have been foretold more than a generation ago, when at an intensely problematic moment in the history of the United States and in the history of Newark, New Jersey, the university and the school began. Much has been written about the turbulent period in which UMD&J was envisioned as a part of one of Newark's many post-World War II transformations, one of many revitalizations of this old American town. The popular narrative goes something like this. A huge medical complex was to be built on what had become, in the minds of some, a depressed, overwhelmingly poor, and predominantly black ghetto. The complex went up, marking not the first time, and certainly not the last time, when a considerable swath of Newark residents and those who live beyond the shadow cast by Newark believed that their collective numbers mattered very little to the power brokers in the city, in the state, and in the nation. For nearly a generation, a latent tension, or I should say latent tensions, of that turbulent period seeped into every nook and cranny of New Jersey's memory of itself. And for nearly a generation, UMD&J would have to introduce and reintroduce itself to those who bore witness to that turbulent era. Popular narratives are popular because they are easily accessible. Often they are one-dimensional. The university was initially viewed as an interloper, a vast capital project that would lay waste to blocks upon blocks of spaces where African Americans had lived since the early decades of the last century. Given the race relations at the time, many could not have imagined the future, our present, where this institution would be where it now is, at the center of a 21st century city in which medical science, medical care, civic duty, civic engagement, and Bob Johnson intersect. A more complicated narrative of the history of the university and of the medical school takes into account how Dr. Robert Johnson, not all by himself, mind you, but leading a charge, became easily one of the most remarkable and admired members of our community. He indeed created that intersection. In doing so, he stands out as one of the most remarkable citizens in a town that many thought would no longer produce remarkable citizens. He helped to the university, the school, and this community survive a near catastrophic breakdown of civic discipline, civic rigor, and engagement. He did that on his watch. And that complicated narrative would also take into account how much has changed in the perception of this formidable institution, in the beneficent role it plays in the lives of thousands upon thousands of citizens and settlers who on multiple levels depend upon the very talented and dedicated people who are a part of the UMD&J installation, and constellation. As a historian, I'm constantly asked to frame the present within a historical context. 2 chapters of the past are most appropriate references on a day like this one. The first is a large chapter, which takes us back to 1863. In 2013, we will observe the sesquicentennial of the Great Emancipation, in which with swift accord, over 4 million Black Americans became free. All of us, especially Dr. Johnson, stands on the known and unknown shoulders of those who were freed. One of the first things the freedmen, women, and children did in the 1860s is they began to look after their health. That was a major priority, a major dividend of freedom. The second chapter is much smaller, local, but significant nonetheless. In the mid-1920s, a Black doctor by the name of John A. Kinney came to Newark. He came to Newark from Tuskegee, Alabama. He had been Booker T. Washington's personal physician. He quickly realized that Newark's racial intolerance had deeply seeped into the city's healthcare institutions. And so he started a hospital, a very small hospital, which he called the Community Hospital. And it thrived over a generation until Newark City Hospital finally admitted Black doctors and nurses in the 1940s. Many of us, especially Dr. Robert Johnson, Dean Robert Johnson, are standing today on the known shoulders of Dr. Kinney. We've been through a lot in this country, in this state, and in this city. And the history of how this day comes to be this day, once that is better known, we will realize just how precious this day is and just how fortunate our community is to have Dr. Johnson standing so securely, so nobly on known and unknown soldiers and shoulders. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Price, for educating us a little bit about the history of this institution and its rightful place in the history of the city of Newark. I think it's important for all of us to remember and to continue to learn and to understand where we are and where we came from. So thank you. So, upon learning of Dr. Johnson's appointment as Dean of the New Jersey Medical School, a number of public officials have offered to present acknowledgments and congratulatory notes to Dean Johnson. So we have several of those individuals with us today. Okay, the next individual I'd like to welcome to the podium is Deputy Mayor Muniz, and she is here, great. And Dean Johnson, would you also please come forward?
Good afternoon, and thank you. This afternoon, on behalf of Mayor Cory A. Booker, it is my privilege to present this proclamation to Dr. Robert L. Johnson. Indeed, Dr. Johnson, both Mayor Booker and all the city of Newark, New Jersey, joins the chorus of New Jersey, and all of those folks across the river in saying thank you. Thank you for your leadership, your vision, and your compassion. Truly, many know you as Dr. Johnson, as Dean Johnson, but so many more know you as Dr. J. So for your unyielding love, commitment, and for your leadership, thank you for doing these things to individualize and making sure that we all ascend as individuals and as community. And here in the great city of Newark, you've made it a better place. From all of us, thank you, gracias, muito obrigada.
That Assemblyperson Cleopatra Tucker is here, and she has a resolution that she would like to present to the Dean.
On the behalf of Speaker Sheila Oliver and the entire General Assembly, we just want to say thank you for your dedication, your hard work, and being the person that you are. We're here to say congratulations on being the Dean, and you've always been the Dean in our minds. And we have a special congratulations for the Essex County delegation.
Okay, I would like to now ask Newark City Councilman Darren Sharif to come forward. And Dean Johnson?
This reminds me of around Christmas time when somebody has everything in the world. So you say, what do I get for this person? And so for somebody who's accomplished so much, what do you say? And the only thing that came to mind was that you're a legend among legends. And every single constituent, not only in the Central Ward, the ward that I'm proud to represent, but and not only in the city of Newark, but literally throughout this state and around the country, and indeed throughout the world, we are better off for your leadership and your scholarship and all the hard work that you bring to your job every single day. So on behalf of the residents of the Central Ward, I present this to you, Dr. Johnson, on this tremendous occasion. Thank you very much.
We now welcome Ms. Carolyn Pfefferman, who's a senior advisor from the office of U.S. Senator Robert Menendez. Ms. Pfefferman?
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here on behalf of Senator Menendez. He wishes that he could have been here himself to offer his personal congratulations. I first met you, Dean Johnson, when we did Project Medical Education a few years ago, and I learned firsthand how great this medical school is. And I think I became a cardiologist after 2 days. And as a daughter of a doctor and as a mother of a doctor, I know how much goes into medical education, and I know your work with HIV/AIDS and with adolescents is so much appreciated in this community and outside. So thank you so much. You can read the letter from the senator at your own time, and again, thanks.
All right, just a few more sets of congratulations, then we'll move on to the great part of the afternoon. We've also received a letter from Senator Lautenberg, a letter from Congressman Payne, and a resolution from Senators Rice and Gill. Finally, we also have a proclamation from Essex County Executive Joseph DiVincenzo Jr., and I'll give them to Dean Johnson later. At this point, ladies and gentlemen, I would like for all of you to get ready. It is now my great pleasure and honor to welcome to the podium the Sharon and Joseph L. Muscarell Endowed Dean, also the 8th Dean of the New Jersey Medical School, Dr. Robert L. Johnson, class of 1972.
This is really overwhelming. I had no idea that it was going to be like this. Now, I expected that Kevin Barry would make some comment about the comparative value of classes of UMD&J, but of course we all know that 1972 is a better class. There are some people here from 71 and other classes, but you see the results of the class of 72. And of course, I knew that Neil and Ray would engage in some seemly trying to sell ties on my special day. And you know, I thought about wearing the tie today. And Neil, I'm sorry. And Ray, I'm sorry I didn't wear it, but it just didn't go with this. Well, thank you, Chairman Barry, and thank you, President Owen. Thank all of the officials from the City of Newark, from the county, and from the state who are here. There are several fellow deans of UMD&J schools who are here. Thank you. Members of the New Jersey Medical School Advisory Board, the faculty of New Jersey Medical School, the students of New Jersey Medical School and the Graduate School of Biomedical Science at New Jersey Medical School, the residents and fellows of New Jersey Medical School, the staff of New Jersey Medical School, the staff of University Hospital, and our guests and friends from affiliate hospitals, people who I've met along the way in this journey through the city of Newark, and a special thank you for being here to my wife, Maxine Johnson, who's sitting here with the... And my wife doesn't dress in bright colors, so you'll never know who she is. Thank you all for being here and joining us on this new beginning. I am very proud to be the 8th Dean of New Jersey Medical School. It was not known to me in 1968, when I first stepped foot in this institution, that this is where I would end up. It was not known to me when I was a lab tech working in the labs at Martland Medical Center, when I was a work-study student, that this is where I'd end up. It wasn't known to me as a resident in pediatrics. It wasn't known to me as an assistant professor in pediatrics. It wasn't known to me even as vice chair and chair of pediatrics that this is where I would end up. But one of the things that's been very important in my life is my personal faith, and I've always believed that God leads me where God wants me to go. And that's where I've ended up. And I am sure that as we move forward, that same force will be here to help me along the way. I have had a very long tutorial, 5.5 years. And I guarantee you that it will use that 5.5 years to take us into the future. Now, I've entitled this presentation, A New Beginning. This is a word or set of words that's frequently used by individuals who's thinking about going on from a point in time. Our own president, President Obama, used this title twice. Once when he was a senator in the state of Illinois, a U.S. senator from the state of Illinois, and more recently in 2009 when he spoke to Cairo University about a new way of approaching the Arab-Israeli conflict. The new beginning has been scattered throughout history as a way of conceptualizing things. Probably the first person to use the term was Seneca, Lucius Annacius Seneca, who lived from 1 BC to 65 AD. He was a Roman statesman, a dramatist, a philosopher, a humorist, and he was a tutor to Nero, the Emperor Nero. And he did a fairly good job of it, although he did enter into a conspiracy to kill Nero, called the poison conspiracy. And as his punishment, Nero had him poison himself. But anyway, before he died, Seneca said, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. Another person who's talked about new beginnings is an American religious writer. He was also a broadcaster. Karl Barth lived between 1907 and 1978. And he said, "Though no one can go back and make a new start, anyone can start from now and make a brand new inning." Can start from now and make a brand new inning. But I think the person who talked about new beginnings most, at least who has the most meaning for us, was Alexander Graham Bell, Now, I've talked about a philosopher and a broadcaster, a religious theologian, and here all of a sudden is this scientist. As a matter of fact, he was a healthcare person. He was very interested in hearing, and he, in addition to inventing this telephone and starting a company that we know a little bit about, he also invented machines to help people hear better. He even invented the metal detector. So the next time you go to the airport, you'll thank Alexander Graham Bell for that. And Bell, as a scientist, had experiences that many of the scientists in this room have had. You try very hard at doing something, and it doesn't work out. It comes to an end. And then you start all over again. And so Bell, in drawing all of those experiences together, said, when one door closes, another door opens. So we have closed a number of doors here at New Jersey Medical School. As a matter of fact, on March 15th, at a board meeting, when President Owen nominated me to be dean, and the board, a couple of members here from the board now, Brad Hildebrand and the chairman of the board, Kevin Barry, voted to accept me as dean, a big door closed. Now, it's the Ides of March. But I don't think that only has a meaning for Julius Caesar and the other Caesar scholars. We closed the door on a long interregnum of uncertain leadership. We closed the door on uncertainty about the structure of our institution. And we closed the door on a period of great concern about whether or not we will survive. Today, other doors open. And we open doors to a new beginning. However, as we open those doors, we need to remember the second half of Bell's statement. Bell said, when one door closes, another opens. But then there's 3 more lines. And those lines are, but we so often look so long and so regretfully upon the closed doors that we do not see the ones which are open to us. We look so regretfully on the closed doors that we don't see the ones that are open to us. Now, that's somewhat easy to understand. There is always a risk in going through the new doors. There's always a risk in starting something new. Bell said, don't spend so much of your energy bemoaning what you did in the past. It's easy to live in the past because you know what's there. Even though it may have been bad, you're used to it. You learn how to work around the past. In the future, you don't know whether the skills you've learned in the past are going to allow you to move into the future. But if you don't, you will be stymied. You will be stymied, and you will always look on the opportunities that you have in the future as major obstacles as you hold on to the closed doors. So with that view, we need to look at the doors that are open to us. If you look at all of our missions, in the mission of clinical care, we have doors that are opening up to us because of the Affordable Care Act. We will soon, collectively, have millions of more individuals to provide health care for in this country. Peter Carmel, as the head of the AMA, will show us the way in the coming year. But we will have also that job here in Newark and throughout the state of New Jersey, and we will have an opportunity to train not only the physicians at New Jersey Medical School, but all the other health care providers that are needed, that are trained throughout all of our other schools in UMD&J for the challenge of what will happen with affordable health care. We have opportunities with changes in the economic structure of health care here in the city of Newark and Essex County. We have opportunities with doors that are opening up because there will have to be some reorganizations of how health care is provided. We have the opportunity at New Jersey Medical School to make sure that the clinical requirements that are offered by these changes that will occur in these healthcare institutions are in alignment with the educational and the research requirements of New Jersey Medical School. We have doors opening up in education. The Kane Commission report called for a deep review of higher education in the state of New Jersey, and there may very well be some changes in the structure of UMDNJ in the future. We could spend time thinking about what we had in the past and bemoan that, or we could look at what the great opportunities are in the future. Whether we change and become a great urban university here in the city of Newark, or whether we don't change and grow and continue to develop UMDNJ, we have the opportunity before us, but it will never happen. We will never have an opportunity to do that unless we move through that open door. We have great opportunities in research. We have an extreme expertise at this school in infectious disease and inflammation. We have the opportunity to bring together all of the expertise we have here to make sure that discoveries at the bench side make a rapid transition to the bedside so that people not only in this institution but all throughout this country can benefit from the knowledge and advancement of the scientists that we have here. We have a great opportunity as the doors open in our community. UMDNJ is the largest employer, second largest employer in the city of Newark. UMDNJ is the major source of health care in the city of Newark and indeed in many respects throughout this county of Essex. We have always played a significant role in providing those services. We are the major educator in the healthcare industry throughout the city and throughout the state. But we are also important corporate citizens. The advancement of the city of Newark, the growth of the city of Newark is interdependent on our own growth. As the city grows and improves, we're able to improve. As we grow and improve, the city is able to grow and improve. And that means that we have an opportunity to participate not only in the things that are related to health, but also in everything else that goes on in the city. So if the city is to improve because we improve violence problems in the city, we need to be part of it. We are participating in education reform in the city. Now that not only has a great benefit for the city, but a benefit to us as well, because our own employees come from the individuals who are trained in this city. Our opportunity for diversity within our educational systems in the medical school as well as in all the other schools of UMDNJ depend upon an excellent primary and secondary education system here in the city of Newark and the other cities throughout the state of New Jersey. So that is another door open to us. And there are many, many others, many other doors that are open. However, in order for us to move through those open doors, I need you. Now, as your dean, I will lead and show the way. But in order for us to move forward, I need your collective ideas. I need your collective wisdom. I need your collective energy. I need your collective commitment. I don't expect for one moment that we will all agree. In fact, my experience has been that we won't all agree at all. But if we are to move forward, to take advantage of the doors that are opening before us, we have to all be committed to work together to get there. We all have to be committed to work together to get there. Well, where do we start? I think that what we really need now is a period of time where we can step back as a collective community and think about what we've been through and reflect upon where we're going. And therefore, we're going to start with a school-wide retreat. To this end, I have already appointed 2 of our faculty members to head a strategic planning steering committee that will set up this retreat that I expect to occur in the fall. I've selected 2 individuals who have been internationally known for their leadership in academic medicine, Dr. Ann Mosenthal, who will chair this effort, and Dr. Vivian Belafato, who will be the vice chair of this effort. Now, both of these individuals are ELAM scholars. ELAM stands for Executive Leadership in Academic Medicine. It is a designation that comes as a result of a national competition, and we are honored at New Jersey Medical School to have 5 individuals who have been through the ELAM process and are ELAM scholars. Dr. Soto Green, who's the vice dean, Dr. Carol Newland, who is the chair of microbiology, and Dr. Nancy Connell, one of our outstanding investigators. They're also ELAM scholars. This effort will be headed by Ann Mosenthal and Vivian Belafato. The steering committee has been informally designated. I will meet with them soon to formally charge them, and they will work towards establishing this retreat that we will all participate in the fall of the year. I began 24 pages ago with when I was writing this speech when my wife and I were on vacation in Palm Desert, she keeps telling me, keep it short. 24 pages ago, I made a reference to President Obama and the speech that he gave on June 4th, 2009 at Cairo University. And at the time, he was trying to achieve peace in the Middle East. And our task is not quite that daunting, but it is challenging. It is very challenging. And so it is fitting to close with a line that's taken from that speech, a line about new beginnings and what we have to do in order to begin new. And the president said, "We have the power to make the world we seek." Now, to paraphrase, we have the power to make the New Jersey Medical School that we seek. We have the power to make the UMDNJ that we seek. To get back to the president's words, but we can do that only if we have the courage to make a new beginning. Thank you.
I'd like to thank Clement Price.
Oh.
Dean Johnson, thank you for those inspiring words. We, the faculty, students, and staff of the New Jersey Medical School, look forward to the bright future under your leadership. You have articulated a vision and a plan which will bring us boldly and proudly into the future, and we look forward to exploring those new doors and moving through them as a medical school. So thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our formal program for today. We thank you for joining us, and we hope that you can all stay for a reception on the B level, so that's the level out here, in the grand foyer, which is right outside these lecture halls. If you require assistance of any kind, again, please approach any of the individuals wearing tags that say Event Committee. Thank you for being here today.